New business, the master plan discussion. Mark, do you want to talk about your clarification
Sure.
on what you had said
So
versus?
this last meeting, when I had looked at the map and I saw the red area, I had interpreted that as a commercial zoning. Following up with our planning department, what they call this business opportunity center. And when you look into the master plan, the meat of it, it indicates that it's not really a zoning, but it's more of a future land use category, but kind of intended for commercial type uses. So I guess in that case, you know, some people could come in and request commercial use, for instance, on those areas that it's shown. But in that case, the township, you know, could basically have the discretion to say whether they thought it was conducive to the area or not. Basically, if you read into the Business Opportunity Center description, it's page 49 of the proposed master plan. It just says it's intended to combine different types of business, commercial uses in an area to provide more flexible land use options than what is typically allowed in the zoning ordinance today. But it does say, you know, the areas could include industrial, commercial, retail, mixed use, basically typical commercial things that everyone, you know, would associate with commercial use. But then it also basically says that the township would need to determine exactly how to integrate those uses into these areas, and that any considered use should not have an adverse impact on the surrounding areas, such as storage, external storage, noise, smells, and things like that. So that's, I guess, my clarification. So when I came in and said that if it's changed to this and someone wants to change it to commercial, it's a slam dunk. That's not the case because it's a land use category and not a zoning category.
Can I ask a question?
Public comment is closed, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's
how
a
do we get
question, not a
clarification
comment.
on what he's saying?
Hang on. The future land use map is on the table. Does that change any of the zoning from this map here?
It doesn't change any zoning until someone comes in to request a zoning
So
change.
anybody that wanted to do anything that would be on that future land use map would have to go through the same process as everyone else would have to go through in the township.
Correct.
Can you define that, what those processes are?
It don't matter.
This is-
They'll just do whatever they want to do.
Well, let me ask the question as trustee. So, the way that was set up, there is a building, and I'm going to use that as my example, out by 75. Currently, it's listed as ag. They want to make it commercial. So according to the zoning, there really is no legitimate reason that it shouldn't be made commercial, according to the zoning. So, when we say, well, our zoning map says this or that, you can't argue it because there's not enough water, because we got an 8-inch water main out there, so you can fight the fire. So you can't say there's a shortage of infrastructure, because it has that. You have to believe that that 1,920 square foot building out there has got to have a flush toilet in it. So you can't say that's a problem. So the moral of the story is, whatever we are supposed to address in the distant future would be a really good example of this question at hand right now. There really is no reason that that parcel of agricultural 5 acres would not be approved according to what the map said before and now. Correct or incorrect?
I would say-
Hypothetical.
Yeah, I would say based on what the
You'd have to go by this map here.
But hypothetical, it would say that that should be able to go in there, even though it may or may
That
not know.
map is the existing zoning map?
Correct.
Correct. So if somebody's requesting a change to a parcel there,
That's currently A,
what I would
But it's-
say,
but it's in that
Is I would-
industrial
yes.
section right there.
Business.
so then with that, I would say that yes, the intent is to give the option for commercial, and if it kind of checks all the boxes that it makes sense to do it, then I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do it.
So what's the
That's
purpose?
within the
What's the
2002.
purpose of this
That's a
doing
2002.
I mean, if you
Well,
can
no,
get it zoned,
I'm giving a hypothetical circumstance that we will view in the not too distant future. And when you look at it, you know how a commercial building was built on a piece of agricultural property. I'm kind of confused, but then again, what do I know? I built several businesses, and I
So-
never built on a piece of residence. I would
So I don't
never,
think anybody that read the surveys, we had 3 planning sessions, or work
Right.
sessions, and went section by section.
I
Don
think,
is the only one that wasn't here, and Deb, our prior chair, and we looked at this. And we all agreed that, at that point, that we thought there was nothing wrong with expanding that business opportunity at that time.
I
Since
think,
then, we've gotten the surveys that
correct.
are very clear that
That's not what
Coquitlam
the people
Township
want.
residents, I agree with you, Coquitlam Township residents want this to remain a bedroom community. So I don't see,
What's the
personally,
What the hell is
What
that?
a bedroom?
A bedroom community means you
I was
don't
asking
work,
him. His words.
You don't have to
you
answer.
you don't work in the, you work somewhere else and it's just where you live. The businesses are not in Coquitlam Township. You commute to your job.
that's
So
what
again,
Auburn
this is a work session for the board to make a decision and a recommendation to bring back a revised master plan for public comment.
Let me,
So not,
go ahead.
again, this is gonna have to get, this will be, whatever we decide here tonight, will be reposted for another public hearing. We'll go to the board again and be reposted for a public hearing. We tabled, based on public comment and the surveys which came in after we did this, and it's, I don't know the dates, 18 months ago, 24 months ago.
At the end of
Why
COVID
didn't
is
you
when
do
it
that for
happened, when
me?
people
Okay.
were still very conservative. I
Residents didn't
don't,
want
we
it.
started October, November, because I had just come on the board, when we were going through all this, because this book that I have right here has my writing in it of where things were being expanded. So it was right after Melissa left the board, and I came on the board, then we had the Bay ATI property, and we worked on this at the same time. It was right in the end of COVID, where people weren't still getting out.
so based on your, Charlie's input, that there's nothing that can stop that from being commercial, based on this map here, what's the purpose of having this future opportunity zone? Why even do that? If they can do it, looking at the current conditions, they can apply for it, get it
Mr. Penix,
approved.
the one we have now is from 2002.
Yeah.
None of us were here at 2002. And there's a clearly defined business opportunity zone. So whether we change, we would have to get rid of it entirely. We expanded what was there from December of 2002.
Well, 2019 had some adjustments signed by Mr. Bragle that were posted
But
right
that's
there.
not master plan. That's a future land use, right?
Future-
That's this.
It was a
that's-
master plan.
But what
Every
does that
5
do though,
years.
the- having the future opportunity zone, what does that do? What does that do by not having that? Where Charlie says by not having that, you could still apply, you could still get approved for commercial, without having to have that zone called the future opportunity zone. I'm just trying to understand, why would we define this a future opportunity zone? What's the advantage of that?
Because should a business want to come in there next to I-75 and it was zoned, I mean, Mark, maybe you should answer
Yeah, I
that.
guess
You're-
basically, and maybe if you want to look at it in a different area, if you look at the solid yellow area, for instance, if someone said, you know, okay, we want to take this parcel right in the middle and change it to, you know, big industry.
Who would decide that?
Well, let me continue. The map shows it as all residential, and first of all, someone shouldn't even really come in to ask that because they would know it's all residential around it, people aren't gonna want it. And then secondly, when the map shows it to be all residential, you know, basically the township would say, we're gonna deny your request because this is a residential area. We don't want commercial in it, so we have these other areas for commercial to go to.
Would have been nice if
So
it had worked that way.
based on the surveys and the public comment from last month, does anybody have an issue with going back to the initial business opportunity zone and not expanding it?
I want to play double advocate here a minute. Going back to you, Mr. Penix. Would you explain why the township needs to do a master plan?
Sure, basically for that same reason, so if someone does want to come in with commercial, they can kind of look at the plan in advance, or any zoning for that matter, and see, okay, where are certain things allowed in the township?
So wouldn't they get that from this map?
Well, that's what's existing today. That's not what's necessarily allowed. Because if you go to the future land use map, that kind of shows what the township is moving toward.
So let me ask another question. 'Cause
So
this-
basically, you're kind of saying that, these areas, we want them to be residential, this area, we want it to be commercial, this area, we want it to be industrial, this area is, like I said, the business opportunity center, which could say, okay, that's kind of a variety of different things. It's not just industrial, just commercial, you can fit a variety of different things in there.
So is this mandated by anybody?
What's
The
that?
master plan?
The master plan,
Future
everybody
land-
has to have
Future
a
land
master
use,
plan.
is that mandated by, that you have to have future land?
That's
use?
part of your master plan.
That's part of
yes.
your master plan.
Correct.
So this is something you have to have.
No.
The map is, yes, the various zonings and everything, you can kind of do as you want.
Yes, sir.
But again-
Not that hard, guys.
But again, taking the ones that are designated areas,
Mhm.
there would be nothing stopping anybody from doing it with this map.
They go hand in hand, because if you don't have the future land use map, you just have the existing map, you have no basically plan for what you want to do in the future.
That's not what I ask. I ask if somebody wanted to put a business where the business opportunity center is, and you don't have a business opportunity center here, can they still put it in the same place and go through the same
Are you
steps of
saying if there's
changing?
no future land use
Yeah.
map? Well, but then there's no planning, because you just have a map and people are just picking and choosing what they want to do where.
But
If
they
you have
have
a
to-
map
Right up
like
here.
this, you actually have a map that kind of identifies
Yeah.
where do you want certain things.
And you're not supposed to spot zone, and that's why the future land maps have been put into place to stop some of this spot zoning.
That's not zoning.
No, that's just a future land use map.
It's a future land, okay, it's not zoning, but when somebody comes in and they wanna put a Taco Bell right here, this would say, that's really not the best place. You
Right.
should either move it here,
Yep.
and you sure don't wanna be down there, because we already know that don't work, for God knows what reason. So, maybe
Sister-in-law.
up here. But the moral behind that whole theory is, at least this is saying something, as does that map. But once it says that, then it's pretty hard for you to say no.
No, you can always say no.
No?
No, you
can't.
Well, you can
You
sue
can't
you
say
in
no.
court
If you
over
follow
that issue.
through- If you follow through, you go through, if they come in and they say, here's my plan, and the plan works, and anything that does it, they go through the steps and they go through the process.
Okay, I'll ask you
Not
another
when you're
question. then.
biased.
This is my question.
What's wrong with
So I want to develop this section of land right here. There's only one problem. There's no infrastructure there, and you can't get it under I-75.
Then they can't develop.
Well, we say that's a perfect place to put it,
We're
though.
saying that,
No, we are saying that's a good place to put it, but we didn't offer any infrastructure out there, which would be the problem.
and with the business.
Amazon came and said, hey, we want to build a center right there. We don't have, over here, you could get away doing that, but you can't do it out here where you can't get nothing unless Amazon says, I'll write whatever check you need to go under I-75. And
They'll do it.
then you go back to the state and you find out how
So you
cost
guys
prohibitive
don't
that
have
is.
a price.
Are you representing Amazon or?
It doesn't matter.
I'm asking a question and giving a good example. If they were to want to build something, because we say that's a business opportunity center, but there's no infrastructure available.
Right, but if Amazon says I'm gonna write you a check, you guys aren't paid to represent
Correct,
Amazon.
we are here.
You're
We're
supposed
for
to be
the people.
representing us, right? And we're telling you we don't want Amazon coming in.
I am just, I am giving you an analogy and nothing more.
Right.
Yes, bad
So the
example.
question on the table was, does anyone have an issue with it?
Is it possible to keep the master plan the way it was? You have to renew it, but can it be renewed at the same go it was?
Sure.
That's on the table right now.
What we're discussing.
That's on
Why
the
is
table.
it brought to the board
Does anyone have-
when there's changes?
The board approved the changes. The Board of Trustees approved this.
But why didn't that come up?
But that's our community,
You're our
not
board.
yours.
No, here's, the Board of Trustees approved this, so I think,
Well, actually,
Let's
I don't
move
know
on.
that all the boards
No.
did, but there was a vote.
Let's stay right here.
all right,
There was a
Certain
3 to
people
2
approved
vote.
it from the
the
board.
question is, does anyone have an objection to moving it back to the existing?
Just leave it alone, Pat. Do it as is.
Right. That's what I'm asking. Okay. You're comfortable? Gary?
What is that?
Don't put
2002.
land use map.
Is it correct?
Can we look at that one more time? It is correct? Okay.
Okay, so having settled that regarding the Business Opportunity Act, huh?
Just do away with the Business Opportunity Act and leave it as is.
Just leave it to 2002. Right? Okay. But that's what it was, just so you know, that's what it was in 2002. You're saying leave it
That's what it
exactly
came
as it
in.
was passed in 2002.
Everybody's happy back then? Yep.
Okay, that's what the question was, so. All right, so when, this is gonna be hard to see, but if you guys look at your proposed future land use, here they drew just general circles in 2002. Spicer kind of essentially filled in,
The color,
right.
making it a truly commercial district.
Our suggestion was in this particular area where there was some public comment, which you have in front of you, to go, instead of broad basing it in red, to actually follow the parcels that are along M13. Does that make sense? So for instance, if it actually touches M13, that the line follows. Gary?
Front line would follow the back part of the parcel.
Yeah. So if you want to take a look at how this is proposed, Art, you want to take a look as well?
Sure.
This one goes back to the parcel off.
That's currently zoned. That's why we remember back, that's why we kicked it back out that far, because it actually goes back that far. So the point was we followed it around to parcels that actually touched M13.
Correct.
Well, no, that, I'm saying adjust it to that, no.
I only have one question. Why would it stop at Bowtell Road, and why wouldn't it continue since we still have, this is kind of way out of whack here, because,
We kind of followed, Charlie, if you remember, we kind of followed what was here. We didn't go any we didn't expand it out any farther when we met. All we did, this is 2002, so basically, yeah. So instead of just rounding this out, now it actually follows the parcels that are
as highway commercial in the future.
correct. Because some of this comes down, there's some public comment, which you read, we're coming down Wetters Road.
Right.
Yeah, I think, so I'm just looking at this, oh, never mind, that's, I thought that was running it, so it's not.
Yeah, it kind of splits parts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got
kind of,
what's the parcel with, you know,
It
this
doesn't
first
follow.
part, based on that, I think what you're suggesting is that it stays with these properties at front M13.
Correct.
And it wouldn't go any further than that.
Correct, it
They
wouldn't go
would follow
into
their back
the, it
line.
wouldn't go into the road.
The next
R1,
parcel,
R1.
200 feet or whatever that might be.
Mark, I know you weren't here, but can you tell us why this one, 2002, was Township Center across the road? But yet,
What is that, is that this?
that's where you're at, right here. But then, when we got this back, there's no, it's showing
R1.
agricultural here.
That's, yeah.
Oh, I think the R1 no means that it should be R1 for single family residential.
Well,
I think it should be
I
yellow.
put that on there.
Oh, you did?
I just did that.
Oh,
Because
But
it's
my
not-
point is,
oh,
why would we have, the gist is, east of Mackinac is all R1 residential, single family.
Well, this is ag residential.
I know, but why would you have one,
To me, by looking at that, that should be yellow,
it
just
should
like
be
the
yellow,
rest.
just to fill in, why would you have one, why would we do that, to have one?
That's an argument right out here in parcel of 7 Mile right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's colored that.
I think we should move that back to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Parish Brook, so this is right across the.
yeah. Township. This is,
Yeah, straight across. from the
this is public, semi-public township property. But why, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, I think that should be yellow, based on just looking at the map, not knowing the history.
Don, you wanna look at this to see if you're comfortable with following these?
I know, I get what you're saying. This is
Versus-
wrong in my opinion. They're just got
Versus
treated.
here's 2002, it was just across all parcels. Then they kind of did the same.
There used to be.
They just got a little wild with the highlights. Everything just keeps random property.
If the height is 13 in that section, then it's C1 commercial. You know what I'm saying? So you're not getting into R1 with the broad brush there.
I was told my property is residential.
Yeah, it should match. There's no way we did that.
It was very,
I'm comfortable doing that. It's pretty grand as far as
actually.
they got to be more distinctive.
M13.
Anything.
Up, and that's why we don't.
I don't care. But I do know, going back to.
You don't know what now.
Well, the problem is it doesn't have the right adjustment. Because it's, when they gave it in the 1900s, this is that, it was needed as 509. But when I first moved here, they were messing with it. We live in 526.
I don't say motion, but that's what I was proposed to go back to.
Leave it as is, sign on that.
With this additional line. This is, they just rounded and didn't go any particular.
Just squared it off with the ends instead of them being
Well,
round.
this was too big, right? So here it's kind of like rounded. Here they tried to take that and square it off. Yeah. I think we shrink it in to specific properties that are adjacent to or touch M13. Access to 13. Instead of
That's
doing
one
about
thing they're gonna decide.
See, this is our commercial, which is why.
Because they keep screwing us, well, they keep screwing people. Quit screwing us people and wouldn't have a problem. I've lived here for 30 years and never set foot in this place until a year ago, and now I haven't left it, and I wish I never stepped to it.
Okay.
Worst place I've ever been in my life here. And there's employees that did the same way.
The
Worst place.
business opportunity will revert to the original size.
Well, there's like
I will make the motion. We can go back to order and I'll make a motion. And I will make sure that this is not covered up.
I know.
Yes. Okay. At this point, the proposal that I am making is for this to revert back to the 2002 map and not expand the Business Opportunity Center.
So leave it
Okay,
farm
but
and
that's-
agriculture?
Are we gonna vote
So that's my motion.
let's do this all in one.
Not all of them.
So that's the one piece about Business Opportunity Center. The second piece